Hi, everyone. Welcome to Live with Janome. I'm Anne Hein, Embroidery Software Specialist for Janome America, and I'm going to hold it right here just a moment till we get a few more people on board. And then I'm getting my comments up, so we'll be ready for that. Let's see, I have comments up now. Let me turn the volume down over here. All right. So we'll start in just a moment. I know in my little note I said I'd have the directions ready, but I had a few last minute things happen here at the house, so that did not happen. But I will post them pretty much after class or by tomorrow morning. I wanted to add a better graphic to them, so that takes a little bit of time, so I need to do that. All right, so I'm going to put the camera on and say a proper hello. And here we go. Let's see here. Do that. Hi. So hi, everyone. In case you don't know me, I'm Anne Hein, Embroidery Software Specialist for Janome America. And today is our zip pouch of the month for August. We are at our 8th month. We've done 8 of these pouches, and I'm going to review them first. I have my camera set up here to the side. So let me do that, and then we will get to our project today, and you'll get to see it at the end here. So let me get this up. So as I said, it's back to school time. So I have my back to school supplies here, and we're going to be working with some of that stuff just for inspiration. But what we've done over the past is we started out with a very simple zip pouch. We did use a rounded corner. We have our zipper put in there. There's no lining in this one, but we did add embroidery. And then the next month, we added a few more things. We added lining. So we have our lining. We added a little ring on the side here. If you wanted to, you could add a little pocket to the back. So I showed you how to completely line it. Then we went to a top zip. So let me close this. This is more of a top zip where this is like the folded down type. So we had a top zip and we had hardware on there, pocket, snap in the back if you wanted, fully lined on the inside. Okay. Let me make sure we're doing okay here. I did have a power outage earlier today, so it scared me. So hopefully we will not have any of that today. And then let me turn on, I have other comments. Since I'm streaming on several pages, sometimes I have to look at all the comments from other places. So let's see. Oh, everything's looking good here. Hi, everybody. Hi, Jerry. There we go. Okay. So here's another one, same type of thing we did with the top zip. You can see it better with the red pocket on the back. Then we moved on. We did a larger one like that. And this had hardware on both sides, has the pocket on the back. It's fully lined, but inside we have a surprise. There was another pocket with a zipper that is completely lined inside. And this is all attached here. So you have a nice inside and outside zipper on that one. So that was that month. And then we moved on to 2 zippers on the front. And I did it in 2 different versions. You can have hardware or you can forget to put your hardware on. That happens too. But these have a zipper here that goes all the way down to the bottom. And then we have a halfway zipper for a small pocket right here. So that's fully lined. That's fully lined. And then we have the back. Now you could always put a pocket on the back. We've shown how to do that. So you have that as well. I know they are pretty fancy. We keep getting a little different each time. This one happens to be my very, very favorite, this one here. And I did this as a stuffy. I love hippos, and actually I love rhinoceroses and capybaras. So I made a zip pouch for, and I used, this is Cuddle or Minky or whatever, and it's fully lined. Of course, when you're doing this, you would want to use topper on this so that it makes it easier to stitch that. And it's a 2-parter. You did your embroidery first, then you create your back piece, then do your embroidery, and then add your back piece. It's a 2-part. It's a 2-part bag. So there's that. And then we did another 2-part bag. We did this one here with the window. Here you go. So it's got a little window in there. and it's fully lined. You can see we lined it, and I have to fix my little, I had a little oops right there, but that's okay. And this is just my stabilizer showing. I just have not cleaned that up. But there's our bag from last month. And then this month it is back to school. So I'm ready to go back to school. I have my notebook here. I'm going to move some of these things out of the way so it's not so tall. There we go. And you're thinking I wouldn't use my Janome fabric, but of course I used my Janome fabric. So here's our little zip pouch. I did put a skinny elastic on it so I could put it on a book like this if you wanted to. You don't have to. And then I'm going to move our supplies out of the way and show you all the features of this. This does have pockets on the front so you can put your pens in here. And then it does have a zipper area in here where you can put a notebook. Now it's on a notebook, but you could put a notebook. You could put your tissues in there. You could put other pens and pencils in there. And then I have my little Ninja book here, notebook here, so I can take lots of great notes. And I could put some other things in here too. You know, as a traveling educator, I might want, besides pens in here, I might want a marking pencil for fabric. I might want a seam ripper, a pair of little scissors in there, just some things that I would need. My favorite pen from one of my the hotels I stay at. And then this is actually a great pen. It's actually a stylus and a pen all together. That's pretty cool. I like that. And it's red, my favorite color. So that's what we're going to work on today. And this bag is not finished off like the others have the lining where you don't see any raw edge. This does have raw edge on the inside. You could do it the other way and leave the little turning channel. I just didn't want to fuss with that today. I just decided, you know, it's a back to school. It's for kids. I'm going to fix this corner so it folds out better. There we go. And then I just thought it would be, you know, a fun little bag. For kids, you don't always have to do that extra step, but it makes a nice little bag. Now up here, you can always make this bag longer. And I think I would, because originally, I don't know if these are going to fit. These are going to be the same. I really was going to put markers in here. There we go, for my kid one. So I think I would make this just a little bit taller, just so my zipper is up above there. And if I had laid this out properly, I'd probably be able to do that. I mean, I could put a glue stick in there, but these markers are quite long. Other crayons and things might fit in there nicely. So, you know, you can do that too, but you could make it a bit longer if you don't want the zipper to be in the way. But most of the time kids are going to pull out all their markers and then they're going to open up their bag. So you can do that. And then I got some other things too. Oh, I got these are actually slap bracelet rulers. They go like this. Found those out there. And these make great wrappers for your stabilizer. And I love that they have a little ruler on the back side that you can use. And of course, they have dinosaurs. Who doesn't love dinosaurs? All right, so those are our fun school supplies. Let me show you how we did this pouch. And you know, I always like to, why reinvent the wheel when we can use something we've used before? So I went back through into the zip pouches that we've used in the past. And, at a local, well, someone's out about the snap rulers. Target had those. So I went back through some of our bags, and typically we go back to the first one, the January one, and that's the one we like to use. So I'm going to go ahead and put up the software. There we go. And I'm going to start right here with the January one. Now, I've already removed the embroidery that was right here, because January we had the embroidery there, the arrows on it. So we didn't really need that. And then I just looked at my pouch. I kind of looked at, this is the placement of the fabrics. This is the zipper box. Here's tacking down the zipper, tacking down the zipper. This is tacking down the first fabric, then holding it at the bottom, tacking down the top, holding it at the top, and then a decorative, this should be a decorative stitch. Let me close no, I don't want to close that window. Whoops, excuse me. And then we have another decorative, And then over here, there were some pieces to hold the ribbons on the side. So I did something different with those. And then at the end, we have the holding down of the backing and the lining, the inner seam, so everything is more secured. And then we have a final stitching. And then, of course, I usually try to do some type of finishing stitch there. So this is the base I started with. And let me go to the browser and I will look at the bag I ended up with. And I'm actually going to go get this back, just this one here, and put it up at the top so you can see that. There we go. So here's the original, and this is what I ended up with down here. And you can make these any size you want. Your only, probably the only limit you have is the size of your hoop. So maybe you might need to make a skinnier one that's longer, depending if you have a 5x7 hoop or something. I have the giant. This is the RE46 on my CM17, so I could use the whole hoop. But how I got this is I started with this piece here, and I decided, let me ungroup that. Since I copied it, it will be grouped. I started with that piece, and I didn't want to have such sharp corners up here. And when we create a shape, we can use the roundness when we go into shapes. It gives us roundness. And I can also go to edit nodes, and it will bring out the nodes here so I can reshape my shape. So I just pulled this back out here till I got it, to kind of where I wanted it. And once I got it where I wanted it, I'm like, that'll work for me. And that ended up being my placement line. So and then from there, I decided how wide I wanted it and how tall I wanted it. So let's keep that one selected. There we go. And I decided my width was going to be 10 inches. So here's my width. I'm just going to change width here to 10. And then my, this was going to stay just about the same. I think I changed it to 7.5. There we go. And then I just went through changing the different parts till I got them out to the size I needed, like we have down here. We'll go down and look. And let me start with this one because it'll bring me back to the top of my, let's go to the top of my, there we go. So there's that outer one I changed. I had to stretch my zipper box just to just the width of it. I didn't want to change this part. This should stay about 1 inch unless you're using different size zippers, and then you want to make sure you're measuring the width of your zipper because your zipper should lay right in that box. Okay. And then let me see if there's comments over here. I think we're doing pretty good. All right. So you do your zipper box, you adjust that, and then you just go through working with your lines and adjusting or deleting the ones that you don't want. So I did make some changes because some things in this one here I didn't want, and I wanted to change what I was doing on the sides. I do like to put those zipper tabs in, and let me show you. I'll put it back up on the camera so you can see. Let's see if I get the camera up here. And I'll show you what I mean. These are the zipper tabs. If I have a better one to show you, let's see here. Nope, this will be the best. So on the edge here, on the end of my zipper, instead of the zipper going all the way here, I have these little zipper covers or zipper tabs. It makes the zipper look a lot nicer. So here's the first one we did, it went right to there. And then this one gives a little bit of fabric right there just to cover that end of the zipper. Same at this side of it too. I thought I had a better one to show. Nope, see, I didn't do it on this one. You can see there's no zipper tab. And this one lays very nicely. Depends on the flexibility of your zipper. I've had some stiff zippers that when you put them all in the seam, they don't want to bend over there nicely. So having that little zipper tab, it also protects your zipper, I think, a little bit more. So I started doing those zipper tabs and putting those in. So to do those, what you want to do is you're going to create, you're you're going to use and I actually have this already stitched. I can show you. I'll bring it over because I'm starting my kids one right now. All right. And I like to do this kind of weird thing right here. I already cut one out the top and I'm using this bottom one. So let me get this out of the way so I can lay it down flat. There we go. So I put my zipper tab on, as you can see here, and what I've done, I'm going to undo it here, is I did cut some away already, and I could cut some more of this zipper out so it's not in, because we're going to be seaming like right here, so at least some of this can still go away. So I took a 3x3 square and I folded it in and folded it in, and then I lay it on here with the raw edge on my placement line. There's my placement line, and I let it stitch here, and then I flip it over. Of course, remember, this has to be over here when you do this kind of thing, because if not, you're going to have to take this out and move your zipper head over. So then I had that right there, and I did the same thing on the far side. I laid it there and then flipped it over, and I use a 3x3 square. I like that I have enough to cover my zipper, and I could make it smaller so it just fits right here. Sometimes aligning things, you know, you have to, if you're right exact, you have to make sure it stays there. So I always give myself a little bit of fudging room in case I need to move things around. So from this point, I would start adding my fabrics. And to do your fabrics, I'm going to just use my sample here. And I wasn't going to stitch today, only because, let me see if that helps if I just do this. There we go. There we are. Because sometimes stitching, it's almost like watching paint dry, you know, on there. So I have my fabrics, and I'm going to lay them in here so you can see where they go. The first fabrics I'm going to put on are my lower fabrics. Doesn't matter which order you do this. You can do the top fabrics first or the bottom. And so when you start on the bottom, what I have, this is going to be my pocket, and I used a folded piece of fabric for the pocket. So I'm going to set that aside. This is my lower front, so it's going to be down here. This fabric here, these little ants, they are the inside. So I'm going to lay them off to the side. That's my back. And then I have this fabric as my upper fabric right here. Let me see, maybe this way they should go. Maybe this, I don't know. We'll lay them this way just for now. So I started with this fabric first, and what I did is I like to add my lining and my front fabric at the same time. So I want to make sure I have my lining fabric and my front fabric. And I will take my hoop carefully off my machine. I'll flip it over like this. And then I need it to be back here eventually like this, right? So to do that, you have to put it down and line it up with the lower part of your zipper. So it's going to be right here. And tape it good, because what'll happen is one of these will come down and it'll come right underneath and get stuck, and you'll have to take it out. So that's going to be taped right there, and I'm going to grab a little bit of tape. And I'm just going to put a piece here and a piece on this side. And then we're going to pretend that top part's all taped in. Not taped in today, but it will be. All right. And then the front one is going to be here, like so, covering that zipper. I do have my placement lines here, so I know where to put these edges. I did cut them at 10.5 for my piece, so I know. The one thing, it's going to stitch both of those in right along here. This is the part you have to worry about. See that zipper head right there? When your foot comes along this way, it's apt to hit that. So I let it just stitch there. I stop, my foot will come up. I carefully reach under here, and I'll move my zipper head to this side. And then I'll let it continue. All right, and once that's on, I can pull it down. So let's pretend it's stitched on. I'm going to tape it. So we're going to pretend I stitched that in place. This will come down like this, and it'll be stitched right like that, covering up those tabs on the side. There we go. And I'm going to put a little tape there. So I'm going to actually create this by taping. I think it's a little easier. Sometimes under the machine, you can't see the action as well. So we'll just use a little tape for seaming. There we go. And I'll get this one down nice, and then I'll go to the back and I'll pull my back one down and secure that one. So this would be folded and stitched right there and then pulled down. So let me put a little tape to hold that in place. And then I'm going to go back to the software so you can see where we are in the planning of the pieces. So right now, oh wait, I wouldn't pull that down yet. Hang on. This is going to stay up here like that because I have to do the pocket next. Let me put my tape over there. Good thing I thought about that. All right. So you're just going to pull your front piece down. Careful that your back piece doesn't get underneath there. And then since that's all stitched, you'll take your pocket piece, and there's two little lines that I created in the software to stitch on either side here. You can barely see them with my color, but my pocket would align just like that. And I would tape it. I would let it stitch the lines here. Then I would take this and pull it down, and there'll be a stitch that I do down here. So let me go back to the software so I can show you up to that point what I've done, so you can see that. So the tape I'm using, that is Kimberbell paper tape, but you can use any tape out there. There's lots of different brands of tape. That's just what I have right now. And I have a neat little tape dispenser that I really like with it that makes it easier. But there's other tape out there that works just as well. So let's look at the software. And let's see, we did our placement, our zipper box. We've tacked that zipper down. We did our side tabs, right? Here are those little lines I'm going to align my pocket to. And then this is where I stitched the front fabric, the purple, and the lining fabric. And then I pulled the front fabric down, and now I put my pocket down, and it's going to stitch these lines, the separations, for your pencils or whatever you want. You can make these any size. You can make them wider, narrower, whatever you want. One thing I didn't do, and I'd like to go back, these are just single stitched. So when I saw them on the screen, that when they stitched out on my machine, I looked at them and I'm like, I'd like a double stitch. So I just jumped back to that color at the beginning, and it did a second stitch through. But you could use one of the double stitches. You could use a decorative stitch here. So there's options here for that. So now my pocket is on. And then this piece here, I'm going to zoom back so you can see where this is. This is the stitch line. Once I get this done, I pull that lining down in the back and secure it down here. So now my lining is secured. Does that make sense, everyone? Just give me a couple thumbs up so I know you're on the same plane as I am. And I'm just going to fold that lining back on my hoop so we have it in the right place. All right, so next up, and most of these lines were already up here. I just either reorganized them, made them longer. You can make it totally from scratch. But sometimes I'm like, I've got the basic one right there. I might as well use it, All right, so there we are. So the next one, we're going to start on the top. So this would be the line where I would lay my lining on the back side and lay my top fabric and then stitch it down. And then fold both of those up and get secured here. So let me attach those by tape, and we'll see what's going on with that. Let me get the camera back. All right, so this is all done. We're going to pretend those lines are there, and I'm going to flip my hoop over and attach my lining piece just so you can see which direction they go. Now my front, oh, this isn't attached. Let me get this attached. All right, so my front pocket and the lining is attached. I'll have to attach it back here because I'm sure it's not really attached. We're going to pretend. There we go. We have it taped and stitched down. And I haven't done my top stitching yet. I'm waiting on that part. So this will be back here, all ready to go. And then I have to put the piece that's going to be here. And same thing, you want it to be this direction, lined up with that edge of your zipper. And then once we get it all stitched in, it will flip up and be like that. So your front will all be lined. Okay, so we'll pretend that's going to go there. We'll put a little tape stitches here to hold it in, just for flipping purposes. Here we go. And then I'm going to put my front piece here. That's going to do, and I want to make sure my zipper is open enough. Now when I do this one and I line it up, the nice thing is your foot, the bulky part of your foot's back here. So it will stitch along and the head of the zipper won't bother it. You can always double check. So I usually get this all lined up. I'll tape it. It'll stitch across here, and then I'll flip the back. I'll take my hoop off, and I'll flip that lining back up and this top piece back up like this. Okay. And then I will do that stitching across here. So that'll hold that in place. So we'll put a little bit of tape over there. All right, and I am going to move that lining. Let's see if I can get it to flip up. There we go. Just so it's there when we go to do the other part. So now what's next, we'll go back to the software, is a decorative stitch across here and across here. And I usually do it as separate items. And the reason I do that is you could have it stitched down and then cross over and come up. But sometimes I like the safety of it. If it stitches across and it doesn't catch anything, I'm good. If it was going to run on its own, it might run on something I don't want it to. I know when it gets here, it's going to cross back this way and go there. So I sort of like doing individual, but you can add it, you can put it together however you like. And see what I said, you could make this whole section bigger so that you have more room for your pens and pencils, or make this pocket shorter and only have short things in the pocket. But let's go back and look at the software. And let's see what's going on here. Did it switch over for me? No. Let's see. Oh, here we go. Let's do it this way. All right, let's see if it went to software. I think it did. My iPad's on a little bit of a lag. There we go. All right. So I folded those two fabrics up. This is the line that tacks them down. We're going to come down here. This is the decorative stitch, a decorative stitch. And then we come down here and we're getting close to the end. This line here is where I would add my lining. I'm going to show you how I do that. My backing and my lining, and that stitches down. Then I do this inner stitch. See how it's, I'm going to go back so you can see. This one here is outside, holding everything down. This is a final stitch on the inside so that it comes in a little closer on the edges here. It's sort of like your seam, your final seam that you're going to do. It adds, I think it adds an extra bit of safety to it, and it really finishes this off nicely. And then the last thing I do is this decorative stitch here. This is the other bag down here. This is the, if you want to do this, I make it look like a serger-ish kind of thing, and I just trim along there so you don't have such raw edges in there. But I want to go back and show you how I lay down my both my lining and my backing so you can understand how that goes. A lot of the flipping back and forth and knowing where everything is sometimes gets, you know, a little bit crazy. You know, everybody's like, oh no, where does everything go? I have that same issue. I am very visual, so I like to see where everything is. So right now, this would all be done. All right, my top stitching is in. I'm ready to add my backing and my lining. And I add it all from the front, which is different than when you do the part where you're going to turn it with the channel at the bottom. You know how we've done that where you come down and make a channel down here. So the first thing you're going to do is take your back fabric and you're going to lay it on here. Now I know that where my piece is, I'm pretty sure this fits, and this is much bigger than I needed, or I put the wrong piece down already. But you would lay, and this is much bigger than I need, as you can see. Let me show you the piece. I only need a piece that big, so this will fit on here, and then so your back and your front are right sides together. Your lining fits wrong sides to your back and lays on here. And that is that first row of stitching. Then it goes back and it comes inside a bit more. And then it'll do that finishing stitch. Sometimes before I do that finishing stitch, I will come over here to where the seam allowance is. And if there's some extra bulk in here with the zipper or whatever, I'll cut that away so I don't have to deal with it when it does the final stitching. So this would all stitch. Once that's all stitched, you would cut it out of your hoop, turn it over, and from the zipper, you can open up that zipper channel from the back. And I'll show you. Let me just flip this like a pancake. There we go. This part here will still be open. And you can put your seam ripper in here. And what I do is I put my ripper in a little bit to get it started. And then I put the ball end of it inside and I just run it right across here. You just want to catch your stabilizer. You're going to cut it away. Same thing here and cut it away. This is actually it has a fusible in it, but I mean, I could press it and that would be fine, but this is a poly mesh. I really like the poly mesh, but I have only one left. Oh, I forgot to show this because it was laying off to the side. The only thing I did not make sometimes those little extra pieces that you want to add, like handles and stuff, you put a little stitch in there so it's your prompt. If you want to add that elastic that goes across to hold it on a book, what you want to do is I laid it right across here before I laid down my back piece and my batting and my lining. And I just left it hanging out just a little bit. I didn't stretch it. I just left it like this. Now I got this. I have to plug my girlfriend. Here in Delaware, we have a great shop called So What Delaware. And my friend Bunny is the proprietor there. So she has a lot of this elastic. So if you're looking for this thin elastic in color, she's got great colors. You can go there. All right, so there is that. And then you'd sew it all together. And when you get done, you have something like this. There we go. All right, let me go back and I'll see if there's any questions. And if there are, let me see what's going on here. Let me get the camera back. There we go. All right, whoops, let's get this up. There we go. So I had an update with my my streaming software, so it's doing some extra windows on the sides for me now, so I'm just getting used to navigating through all that. All right, so hopefully, I don't think I see any more questions. Where the snap rulers are, everything looks good there. Yeah, I think everything's good on there. All right, so if you have any questions, you can always post them below. I have the directions almost ready. I always like to put a picture right here, and I wanted to go back through the software and get the one for this. So I usually do the software picture, so I have to get that for you. And then just double check that I have everything in there. All right, were there any questions on where we are with this pouch? I love this idea of a little back to school pouch. I mean, I love the flexibility that you can make it, if you need to make it, deeper this way or shorter this way, you can do all that. You can do lots of fancy things with it if you want to. I just love to give you guys the inspiration, and then when you create them, post them to our Janome Artistic Digitizer Facebook page so we can see them there. Also, excuse me, you may have noticed that we are starting our free trial of the software in the month of September for the USA and Canada, and also the UK has jumped on board too. Each of us have our own system of how we're going to, what our dates and all of that. So check on the Janome Artistic Digitizer Facebook page. I have a post there that I try to keep at the top of the page that lists in the comments which countries are doing it and what their web pages are, so you can go and sign up. Some of them you have to sign up by a certain time in order to get the link to get the software. For Janome, we are starting signups. We will not send out codes until September 1st. And if you have Junior and you want to try the full program, definitely do it. This will get you hooked in no time. You have all the tools to play with, which is fun. Or if you know people who are looking for software, they want to try the software, you have friends out there, send them over and check it out. If you hear about your country offering the free trial, let me know. I know there's a couple more that will come on board. I just don't know when. It's always like a little surprise for me, like Christmas. I don't want to know anything ahead of time, kind of ruins the surprise. So I will post them as I get to them. Also on the Janome Artistic Digitizer Facebook page, I've started a new thing called Learning Embroidery with and Without Artistic Digitizer. And I started that with a survey that I put up. I left it up for a couple of days, and about 30 people finished all the questions, and then I closed the survey. So even if you didn't do the survey, you're not missing out on anything. It just gave me a general direction to look at where people are having difficulty or what they want to learn, or if they don't know how to do certain things. So to find that on our Janome Artistic Digitizer page, if you put in the search, not the one that's way up there that says Facebook, there's one within our page, put in hashtag Janome AD group, all one word. It'll take you to all the postings I've had on that and the PDFs that have come out and any hashtags I've added in there with videos and things that you can look at. It's going to be a continuing series. I'm not sure how often I'll put it out, but there's a lot of questions in there. We're doing the basics right now of more like housekeeping, where we find things on our page, how to do a search, where the guides are, the difference between the files on the page and guides. That's always confusing. So check that out. As we go along, I will be covering things like Stabilizer, getting started with Artistic Digitizer, as people had posted, they have things maybe transferring designs or exporting, importing, finding designs in their machine, all those things. Since I have about 30 something questions, I'm going through and collating what's in there and seeing how best I can answer and help you from there. All right. So everyone, have a great day. What day is today? Oh, it's Thursday. I had a live yesterday. I keep thinking it's Friday. Anyways, it is Thursday all day. We have one more day until the weekend. Sometimes Thursday is my weekend, so that's always good too. All right, everyone. Thank you for joining me in the studio. I look forward to seeing you next week. I'll be back. I think I'm here definitely Thursday, and I might be here on Friday. I'm not really sure. I can't look ahead too far. We have some exciting things happening here at home. I can't speak about it at the moment, but I was sure to let you know. But again, thank you for joining me. I look forward to seeing you again at another time. Oh, here we have, oh yeah, it is. I do like you. See, someone just commented about using a previous bag and just reworking it. I mean, why invent all that stuff? Especially that zipper box. You can take that zipper and the tack downs and bring it from box to box. Just make sure you keep it at 1 inch or larger if you're using craft. Some of those other craft zippers, they have numbers on them. They are a little bit wider. But thank you, everyone. Have a great day. We'll see you again soon.